Welcome to the Cardboard Crash Course. My name's Ethan.
And I'm Armand.
And we're going to be playing Wingspan together today. So the base game plus all the expansions, including all of the fan-made content and the Americas expansion, which is new to Wingspan. This is really exciting because we get to try out some of the new content with the hummingbirds and everything, but we aren't going to be including any of the nectar boards from the Oceania expansion because we feel like maybe this first game in this series will be able to focus a little bit more on the new content that comes with the Americas expansion this way. Without further ado, let's get into the game.
Let's go.
While we're setting up the game, we were asked to pick different bonus cards. Each of us gets one from a choice of two, and the ones that we chose will be on screen now. For my very first turn, we're gonna place a cube on Play a Bird. I'm gonna spend a invertebrate and a grain. I can't promise that we'll always say those correctly because I think we call them bugs most of the time. On a rufous-naped wren. This is a round-end bird. For each empty slot in my forest, I gain an invertebrate from the supply. You may cache any or all of them on this bird. So that's a round-end effect, so it won't happen until the end of each of the 4 rounds.
All right, and then for my first turn, I am going to place a cube here in the forest, and I'm going to go ahead and get myself a food. I'm going to choose to take this invertebrate from the feeder, take it out, and I will get myself an invertebrate food. All right, and then I will move down, and we will do the first hummingbird action here. So now I'm able to take a hummingbird from the garden and add it to my board. I'm going to choose to grab the fiery-throated hummingbird and add it here. I'm going to get the bonus. This one here denotes that I get to do the forest action again, so I will take another invertebrate from the feeder.
At the end of each player's turn, you also place new hummingbirds in the garden, just like you would on the bird tray if any birds were taken. Now, I need to go ahead and claim this food here from the feeder, so I'll take this berry out. And it'll also allow me to discard a bird card to get another food, although I don't want to do that. I'll move past this down to another hummingbird. That hummingbird is gonna be this sparkling violeteer. I'll place it here, and I'm gonna gain an egg from that to be able to place on any bird, which I'll place on there. Hummingbirds themselves can't hold any eggs, but they can allow other birds to lay them.
Alrighty then, on my turn, I will place a cube there to play a bird. I'm going to spend 2 invertebrate and a grain, and I'm going to play the eastern meadowlark to the grasslands. It has a brown power, which means when it's activated as a cube passes it, to lay 2 eggs on this bird. Then all other players lay 1 egg on a bird with this type of nest.
All right, I'm already really liking this hummingbird thing because what I can do is I can place card here, and that's gonna let me draw this mallard duck that I really like, but then I'll also be able to move it down to the hummingbird section, and I'll take a stripe-throated hermit and place it in there, which will also let me draw another bird card, which I'm actually gonna draw the ultramarine grosbeak. And at the end of my turn, both the bird tray and the hummingbird garden will be refilled for him. Now, we're not playing with the Oceania expansion, but this new hummingbird does show that it gives you a nectar, which means that you're gonna gain a wild resource. Because we're not playing with the Oceania expansion, nothing else special happens. If you take that hummingbird, it's just wild.
For my turn, I'm going to go ahead and put my cube in the grasslands here. So I'm going to lay 2 eggs. I only have 1 bird that is capable of doing so. Then we will go over here and activate the meadowlark's brown power. So I get to lay 2 eggs on this bird, and then all other players, meaning Ethan, lays 1 egg on a bird with the certain type of nest.
And this rufous-naped wren does have a wild type nest, so I do get to lay an egg on there.
And finally, I'll move the cube to the hummingbird board. Since there already is a hummingbird here, I will be able to return it to the garden, and I will move up on my hummingbird track on the diamond track.
For my turn, I'll place on the gain food. I'm gonna gain a food, which will be this rodent. That's perfect. I have a couple of berries and a rodent, and then I am going to go ahead and discard a card. I don't care too much about this ultramarine grosbeak, so I'll discard that to the discard pile. And we're gonna draw another food, but because there's all of one type of food, I'm gonna go ahead and re-roll them into the feeder. perfect because I needed the second type of food to be a berry, and then it'll move down, nothing with this, but the same thing, I'll be able to take my hummingbird and place it, let's say, on top of the snow cap. So when you place it, you get to either move up on the track over here with the hummingbird that you place or the hummingbird you cover. So because I'm covering a snow cap, I'm gonna move up on the emerald track.
I'm gonna go ahead and play another bird card. This one requires an invertebrate, and it is going to be the sun grebe. I will put it in the wetlands. It also has a brown power that says when I activate it, I can discard an egg to draw a bird card. I may discard an additional egg to draw 2 additional bird cards. So 2 eggs for 3 birds.
Now I get to play a bird and discard my 3 berries. Perfect to play the Sulu Hornbill. It's a 9-point bird, which is great, but it also says as a game end effect. So another effect that won't happen right away, but this one only happens once at the end of the game. I choose another player for each bird with a bonus card effect. On their player mat, draw a new bonus card. If I drew at least 1, I keep 1. So that'll decentivize Arman a little bit to play any bonus card effects, but if he happens to do one, I get an extra bonus card. Just something to keep out. I wanted to sort of decentivize him for the rest of the game.
All right, on my turn, I will go ahead and activate the wetlands. I will draw a bird card. I'm gonna grab this western screech owl. I will move over and I will activate the sun grebe. I'm gonna discard 1 egg and then another egg, so a total of 2 eggs, and I will draw 3 bird cards. So I will go ahead and grab the purple finch, and I think I will take the top 2 cards of the bird deck. Finally, we'll move to the hummingbird board, and I am going to choose to bring over... let's grab our Sawbilled Hermit again. That will give me a nectar, which I can use as any food type.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and gain food. I think that's the only thing that makes sense here, really. I will go ahead and gain this grain out of the feeder, and then I do want to be able to use multiple rodents, so I will take this other rodent out of the feeder. They're kind of the hardest one to get a lot of the time. And then I'll move down and I'm gonna take the hummingbird action to take this oasis hummingbird to also gain a nectar, which just seems really nice to have in this game, which will then replace at the end of my turn with a new hummingbird there.
For my turn, I'm gonna go back to the forest and we are going to go ahead and grab ourselves a cherry. We will move down to the hummingbird board and I will go ahead and put this here, which means I have to choose the bee track since they're both bees. Pushing the bee track up will put it on top of this hummingbird tile here, which allows me to take a hummingbird action in any of the habitats. So I will go ahead and grab the white-tipped sicklebill, and I would like to put it in the grasslands. This ability here allows me to push a track of the hummingbird, and I'm going to go ahead and push my purple track with that ability, just so I'm not hitting any -3s, because that is points at the end I will be losing out on.
All right, I'm gonna draw a bird card so that I don't miss out. I really want this golden eagle here. I just love the eagles in this game. And then when I move down to this hummingbird, I'm gonna place it back on the track. Oops, it should have been refilled there. But I'm gonna place this one back anyway. Oh, let's place it on top of that. I'm gonna gain 1 in the diamond, which will let me do another hummingbird action. And I'm actually going to let's take this fiery-throated hummingbird. I'll put it right here, which will let me draw another bird card. I guess I could have just taken that, but this is a cooler way to do it. And this is a really easy bird to play, which I always like to have. So let's just draw that, and I'll refresh for the end of my turn.
Okay, I think I just need to keep getting some food here. I've got a lot of bird cards in my hand, and I don't mind taking this invertebrate, so I will go ahead and take that, and then we will reset the bird feeder when someone else goes to get food. I will move to the hummingbird space, and I am going to grab, let's do the purple crowned plover crest. So that way we can continue pushing our track. I'm going to push my diamond track, which actually allows me to take another hummingbird action. And I will return the one I just got, honestly. And we will push our emerald track.
All right, well, for my last action, let's go ahead and play a bird. This one's going to be with 2 rodents and a nectar, acting as a 3rd rodent. I'm going to put the golden eagle out. So the golden eagle is worth 8 points, and he is a predator, bird of prey, rather. When activated, also look at a bird card from the deck. If it's less than 100 centimeters, I tuck it behind the bird, and if it's not, I discard it instead. So that'll be my final turn for the round.
And then I think I will follow suit in playing a bird card for my final turn. I will spend a nectar as a rat, and then an invertebrate as well. And I will play a western screech owl to the forest. It is a predator as well, with an activated ability to roll all of the dice in the bird feeder and cache either an invertebrate or a rodent on it, if available, and then I reset the bird feeder.
All right, so first of all, for the end of the round, we'll go ahead and use any round end bird powers. I'm the only one with one of these. They're these blue powers here. So for each empty slot in my forest, which is 3 here, I'll gain 1 invertebrate from the supply. I can cache any or all of them on the bird, which would be 1 point each. I feel like it's kind of overkill. Okay. I'm going to put... what I really need is points at the end, so I'm going to cache 2 of them there, and we'll keep 1 of them to be able to pay for cards. Then we'll score the end of the round goal, which is going to be eggs in the forest. Currently, I'm the only one with a single egg in the forest, so I'm going to go ahead and gain... We'll put 1 of our cubes on this. I'm going to get first place, and then you actually get the very last place because you don't qualify at all.
I see. That is 1 point, but maybe it'll matter.
So we'll put one of his white cubes on that last place because he doesn't qualify whatsoever. And then we'll remove all of our action cards from the board, and we'll get ready for the next round by discarding all of the birds from the bird tray in the garden. So going into the next round, I'm going to pass Armand the first player token, so he'll go first. And then we will have 1 less action, so only 7 going into this round. We'll see you all in round 2, where we're looking at the person with the most amount of diamonds. That's this blue track on each of our hummingbird boards.
Alrighty, I am going to go ahead, and I'm going to continue to go to the forest here. So I'm going to re-roll these because there are no rolled dice in the bird feeder. That was came out. I am going to go ahead and I will grab an invertebrate. Then we move down to the owl. That says to re-roll all dice that are in the bird feeder. And then I cache a invertebrate or a rodent on this bird. I can't hit it in there to save my life. So there is a rodent in here. So I'll remove it and I will cache a rodent.
Okay.
And then I will go ahead and go to the hummingbirds, and I think I want this long-tailed sylph, which will let me grab another thing from here, and I'll grab the grain. And that sets me up pretty well for the next turn. I'll reset the garden, and I'll pass it to you, Ethan.
We're going to try to get as much of the diamond this round as possible, so I'm just going to be... We'll activate play a bird. We'll play it using a invertebrate. Can't believe I kept saying that right, because we've always just called it bug in our games. But Rufus Collared Sparrow is going to go right there. So that doesn't help me with diamond, but I do want to start activating these lay eggs, and the diamond is sitting in my lay eggs section over here. It's a bird that, when activated, I discard a cached of any type from a bird to lay 2 eggs on this bird. So because there's 2 cached invertebrates, it kind of combos with that. So that's helpful, maybe. We'll see.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and play a bird as well. It's going to have a grain, an invertebrate, and a berry. And I'm going to play the purple finch to the wetlands. It is a brown power that says when activated, I draw a card from the deck, and then I tuck a card from my hand behind this bird.
All right, we're gonna lay eggs. Oh, I forgot to say, I should have paid an egg for the bird I just laid, and so should you have. So speaking of which, I'll take 3 eggs out of here. I'm gonna place 2 on the Sulu Hornbill and 1 back on the Rufous-naped Wren. And then discard a cached of anything from bird to lay 2 eggs on that. So I'll discard an invertebrate. That's worth it because eggs and cached food are worth points. So worst case scenario, I just got a point. And then we're gonna look at the top card from the bird deck. If it's less than 100 centimeters, which it is, it's only 20 centimeters, so it'll tuck behind the golden eagle. Poor yellowhead. All right, and then we're gonna move down to this Minute Hermit. I'll move the Minute Hermit back over here. I'll put it on top of White-necked Jacobin, moving my blue track up 1. So your turn.
So we are going to go ahead and we'll activate the wetlands here. I'll draw 2 cards. I should have looked at the birds before I did this.
Yeah, go ahead and take a bonus card, bird.
I don't think I will. I will take the mountain quail, and then I will draw a card. We'll move to the purple finch. I will draw a card from the deck, and then I will tuck a bird card from my hand behind there. It is another bonus card bird because I don't want them. I will move here to the sun grebe. I will discard an egg to draw another one. I don't have another egg to discard to draw an additional 2. But finally, we'll move to the hummingbird spot, and I will return the saw-billed hermit. I am going to go ahead, and I'm actually going to block off the track one, and I will move Diamond up the track.
All right, we'll play another bird. I'm going to use the last grain here. Been wanting to play this mallard. It's one of my favorite birds ever, like, in general, real life. It's worth no points, but I do get to draw extra cards when he's activated. Pretty just standard from the base game. And yep, go ahead.
We'll go ahead and move over to the Western Screech Owl. So I re-roll all the dice that are in the bird feeder, which is only the 1. I was almost a rodent, but it was not, so I will not catch anything there. And then I will go ahead and return the long-tailed sylph. I'm going to block off the minute hermit, and I will push up the diamond track.
Oh my gosh, it is minute, isn't it? I called it minute earlier.
Did you? Probably.
Probably.
Probably. And then, yeah, that'll be it.
Okay, cool. I don't have any bird cards, so I'm gonna need to draw some bird cards. I really like ones with brown powers, and none of these in the bird tray have brown powers. So we're gonna take one from the top of the deck. I will spend an egg on one of these birds to draw another one. And okay, that wasn't helpful. But the mallard is helpful because he lets me draw a third. That's great, all right. Moving now to the fiery-throated hummingbird. I'm gonna put it on top of this hermit to move my blue track up. Although I don't think I'm really catching up with you, to be honest. And it is your turn.
I'm gonna go ahead and go to the grasslands here. We will lay 2 eggs. I will do 1 on this owl and 1 on my finch. We'll move to the meadowlark, and then I will activate it. So I will lay 2 eggs on the meadowlark, and then Ethan may lay 1 egg on a bird with that specific type of nest.
All right, I'm gonna put it back on the same wild one.
All right, we're gonna finally go off to our hummingbird board, and I think I just continue to move up the diamond track to make sure Ethan can't catch up.
Yeah, I'm totally giving up on the diamond track at this point. I'm just gonna start raising them all, which means that let's go ahead and take some bird from the bird feeder for the birds that I just drew, which actually doesn't matter at all. Let's go with a grain. And then I will re-roll these. I just really like the rodents. Then those don't do anything, but when it gets down to this, let's put it... Oh, which one do I want to raise? I'm thinking purple, so I'm going to put it on top of a purple to raise my track from purple up 1. I hate this -3. I want to get that up a little bit. All right, go ahead.
All right, I think I'm returning to the forest once more now that the feeder has been reset, and I will go ahead and I'll grab an invertebrate, and then we'll move over to the screech owl. So we will roll. and we will cache a rodent on it. All right, and then we reset the bird feeder. So then we'll go here, and I think I'm going to grab the marvelous spatula tail.
That's a crazy looking bird.
It is a crazy looking bird. But in doing so, I will also grab a nectar.
Yeah, I'm jealous of the nectar.
It's really nice. We will reset the garden here.
Oh, cool. Right. All right. There's a hummingbird in there that I really would like. So I'm gonna hold off for a second. Let's draw a little bit more food. And we're gonna take a grain from that one. And then before my second one, all the faces show the same. Ooh, you know I'm gonna take a rat. All right, we're just gonna gain, I want this oasis hummingbird because I would love a nectar. Your final turn of the round. I think you pretty much solidified the goal, but.
Yeah. Alrighty, I am going to play a bird. I will be playing it to the forest, which means I will need to discard an egg, and I will discard, or I'll use 2 fish, because this bird requires 2 of any resource. And I will play the Taiwan Blue Magpie. It has a brown power that says when activated, I discard a food of any kind, an egg, or a card to gain 2 food from the bird feeder, and I cache one of them on the bird.
All right, at this point, I'd just like some eggs and a hummingbird. Let's lay 3 eggs. I'm gonna choose a couple of these new beautiful green eggs and put a couple on here. When activated, discard a cached food. I'll do that to put 2 more eggs on the bird. And then when activated, I'll look at the top card of the bird deck. It is 213 centimeters for a steppe eagle, so that is not getting tucked. It's getting discarded instead. And I'll grab, oh, how much food do I actually need? Yeah, how much food do I need? So I'll take this white tip sicklebill anyway to move this orange blob up a little bit, whatever that's supposed to be. What is this orange blob supposed to be?
I don't know.
Go ahead. Oh no, it's the end of the round. That's the end of the round. All right, so we'll go ahead and use our round end bird powers, which is just me for empty slot. Every empty slot, I'm gonna get a invertebrate to cache on that bird, or just gain it. I will go ahead and take 2 of them and cache 1 because I do want some fuel for this, and then we will score the end of the round goal. So you're gonna go in and score the first place for 5 points. I'll get second place for 2 points, and we'll remove all of our action cubes and reset both the birds and the garden.
I will also return the first player marker to Ethan, and we'll start round number 3.
Round number 3, we're caring about brown powers. So you've already got a lead on me.
Yep.
But oh well, we'll see what happens. All right, it being my turn first, I'm gonna play a bird. We are going to play the laughing gull here in the wetlands. It's a fish and 2 of any type. So I'm gonna use the nectar as just the whatever for the fish. And then we'll use a grain and invertebrate for the other 2 types. The laughing gull is a once between turns ability, so this will happen during your turn. When another player resets the bird feeder, which you tend to do pretty often, I'll gain a food from the bird feeder at the end of your turn.
That is pretty good, because I think I'm going to reset a few times. Well, yeah, speaking of, I will go ahead and play a bird myself. I will use this nectar as a rodent and an invertebrate. And I will play the Savannah Hawk. I will also remove this egg so I can do so. This is another brown power predator that says when activated, guess what? I reset the bird feeder.
Oh boy.
So I will cache an invertebrate or a rodent from the bird feeder on the Savannah Hawk, if available. And then if I do, all players gain 1 food of that food from the supply.
Oh.
So you're getting a lot out of this. Hopefully it's enough to get you to come back on these objectives. But that's it.
See, this always happens when Armand and I are playing. You play a little too nice. You're helping me out. You should see him play Twilight Imperium. I will play another bird because it's my absolute favorite thing to do. We're gonna play another Weka with a rodent and an invertebrate because it's 2 of any. It's a once between turns as well. When another player resets the bird feeder, I cash one from the bird feeder on this bird at the end of my turn.
Oh no.
Oh boy. All right. Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh shoot, that also cost me an egg.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna activate the wetlands here. I'm going to draw 2 cards. I do want this cactus wren. And then I will also grab this scrub jay since it only requires 2 of any food, so that seems like it'd be nice to have. We'll move to the Savannah Hawk here, and guess what, guys? I'm resetting the bird feeder. All right, so I can cache any invertebrates or rodents, so I will go ahead and cache a rodent onto here. And because I have done that, we all receive a rodent food.
Cool.
All right, I'll move down to the purple finch. I'll draw a card from the deck, and then I get to tuck a card beneath the finch. And I'm going to tuck this card that says, reset the bird feeder on round end, just so I can't do that any more than I need to. We will move over to Songrieve, and I am going to discard both of my eggs, and I'm going to go ahead and draw 3 bird cards. I have many options. Finally, we go to the hummingbird, and I think I want to grab the speckled hummingbird, which will allow me to push a track. I'm actually going to go ahead and push the diamond just because it gets me to another hummingbird spot, which means I can go ahead and do one of those actions. I'm going to return my spatchel tail to the garden, and I will push up my purple track for doing so. And that will be it. And we'll reset the bird cards here.
All right, I'm honestly at the point where I just kind of want to lay eggs to kill some time. So we're gonna lay 3 eggs and then discard a cached. Oh no, this one's already at the max number of eggs, so I have to skip that, but I will look at the top of the deck. It is oh, look at that. It's a Rufous hummingbird in the actual deck. It's 11 centimeters, so it will get tucked under the golden eagle. Rest in peace. And we'll put this white tip sickle bill down. I'm gonna put it down on top of one of these oranges so that I can move the orange up so I can do another bird action, which is going to be taking the white tip sickle bill back up and putting it on my draw bird cards action, which is gonna let me move another one up, which I'm gonna move the bee out of there. And it's your turn.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and move to the forest here. I'm gonna grab 2 foods. So I'm gonna grab grain and an invertebrate. We'll move over to here. I can discard an egg, a card, or one of any food to gain 2 from the bird feeder. I am going to discard a bird card. I will discard this yellow-eyed penguin, and I will gain these 2. I will have 1 be a grain and 1 be an invertebrate, and we will cache the grain on the magpie. All right, so then we'll move here. I roll all the dice that are in the bird feeder. There are none there, so I get nothing, but then I do reset the bird feeder, so that helps even out a lot. And then finally, we will go to the hummingbird, and I actually really like this spatchel tail, so I'm gonna bring him back and grab a nectar, and then we will reset the garden.
At the end of your turn, because you reset the bird feeder once, I'll gain let's gain a grain, an invertebrate from the supply. And then I also get to cache. I'm gonna cache a berry on the Weka and then gain that. And now I'll be able to draw bird cards. So I'm gonna draw 2 of them. I don't particularly like any of them, so I'm gonna draw a card from the deck, which is actually kind of cool to have, and a second one. But I do feel like I'm going to get rid of an egg to get a third one. There we go, finally. Brown power. Moving down, the mallard will let me draw another card. Okay, looking decent. And then I'll put the white tip sickle bill back. I'm gonna put it on top of any of them because I'll choose blue to move up the blue track. Your turn.
Sounds good. We're gonna go ahead and go to the grasslands. I'm gonna get 2 eggs, and we will put them on, whatever. We'll put them on the Savannah Hawk and the purple finch. I'll go ahead and do the meadow lark's ability. I'll lay 2 eggs on it, and then Ethan may lay an egg on a bird with the same nest type. I will grab the white-tipped sicklebill. It seems like we've been going back and forth on this one hummingbird just because it pushes our tracks, which is a very nice thing to have. So I will go ahead and push my purple track up.
All right, I've got a lot of bird cards and not a lot to do with them. So we're going to put the common chief chaff out by paying 2 eggs and by paying also a grain. And it's a win-activated ability that I choose 1 to 5 birds in this habitat, and I took a card from my hand behind each, which is cool. It's cool that it's in the wetlands, because yeah, that'll be a lot of cards.
All right, I will also go ahead and play a bird. I am going to use a rodent and a grain. The rodent is being used for any type. To play the cactus wren, I will also remove an egg from my Savannah hawk to do so. The cactus wren has a brown power that says I discard a card from my hand, a bird card, and if I do, I lay 2 eggs on a bird with the same nest type as the discarded bird.
All right, we're gonna draw bird cards, which is crazy. I am just gonna draw each of these from the top because then when it gets to the common chief chaff, I'm gonna choose all 4, and we're gonna put those 4, as well as this Indian vulture, 1 under each of the cards. And then nothing, and then I draw a card, which let's hope it's something cool. And I will do the draw bird cards hummingbird, so I'm gonna take this horned sun gem, which will move up my blue track up 1, which I do get to go ahead and do another action. I really want to see a purple, so I'm actually going to take this, well, no, I'm going to take another card from here and place it here, and I'm going to take a nectar for that. And then that way, when I reset, not only will we see 3 new bird cards, we'll also see 2 new hummingbird cards, which I really hope are a couple of purples. Nice. Just great.
Well, it's nice to see the bee hummingbird pushes the bee track.
Yeah, at least.
At least. We'd be concerned if it didn't. Okay. I am actually just going to play another bird, because why not? I've got 2 invertebrates, and we'll use this nectar as a fish. And then we'll remove 2 eggs to play the white-faced ibis. The white-faced ibis has a brown when activated power to roll all dice not in the bird feeder. And then if there are any fish in there, I gain 1 fish, and I cash it on the ibis.
Armand, you know what I just figured out is supposed to happen? Look how pretty this looks. Oh.
No way.
The viewers are probably yelling at us the whole time.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, Stonemeyer went through all this work to make it look nice, and we're screwing with it. All right, it's my turn, though.
I believe that was the end of the round, unless you have more.
I do not. So let's go ahead and check the end of the round. You have more brown powers than I do. So I qualify for 2nd place, and we're going to take one of yours for 1st place. Round end bird powers for each empty slot in my forest, which again is going to be 3. I'm going to load up him with 1 more, and I'll take, we're going to load him up with actually all 3, because this is going into the final round. And then we're going to reset both of the garden and the bird tray. And then finally, we'll pass the 1st player token, and we're going into the 4th round, which cares about invertebrates and food costs of our birds.
Alrighty, so I think to start off, I'm going to activate the wetlands. So I will draw 3 bird cards. I'm going to just grab the flycatcher and the snipe, even though we don't really need brown powers anymore, but I've kind of just had a strategy going. And then we'll start taking from the top of the deck. We'll move to the white-faced ibis, so I will roll all dice not in the bird feeder. There are no fish there, so I don't get much. But then I will reset the bird feeder. So I get to cache a rodent or invertebrate. So we'll go ahead and take out a rodent. We will cache it on the Savannah Hawk, and then Ethan and I will both gain a rodent.
I need something to use all these on.
All right, so then we go to the purple finch. I will draw a card from the deck, and then I tuck one underneath the purple finch. I will do another card that says reset the bird feeder because, again, I've been doing it too much. Then we will move on to the Sungrebe. I will discard... I actually don't know if it's worth it to discard eggs anymore. Finally, we will move on to the hummingbird. I will return the speckled hummingbird. I'm going to push the purple track anyway because it'll allow me to do it again so I can grab the speckled hummingbird back, and I will instead push the orange track so now I am fully out of the clear of negative points this game.
All right, we're gonna play a bird. I am going to play the burrowing owl. It does cost an egg in that row, or column rather. He, when activated, rolls all dice not in the bird feeder. If there are any rodents, gain a rodent and cash it on the card. He costed an invertebrate and a rodent, and it is Armand's turn.
Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to activate the forest. I will grab an invertebrate and a rodent. Then we'll move here. I'm going to discard a bird card to gain 2 from the bird feeder. I'll discard the white-bellied sea eagle. And I will gain the fish and the rodent from here. And I will cache the rodent and keep the fish. Then I roll all dice that are in the bird feeder, none of them. We reset the bird feeder, and then I will return the marvelous spatchel tail, and I will cover up the rufous-tailed hummingbird, and we'll push up our purple track.
All right, I just need to get this bird out there before it's too late. I'm gonna pay an egg to place this yellow-billed magpie out, which takes 2 of any food type. It has a game end effect, which activates each when activated power of my birds of prey. So I've got 2 of them right now. And then if they succeed, I cash a food from the supply on that bird as well. Maybe some extra last minute points. But at this point, I think it's time to just lay some eggs.
I think I'm in the same boat as you there. So I am actually going to go ahead and do so. I will lay 3 eggs on the cactus wren, the magpie, and my hawk. I will move to the cactus wren. I will discard a bird card from my hand, and then I may lay 2 eggs on a bird with the same nest type. I think I'm just going to make it very easy on myself, and I will discard a bird card with a special nest type, so that is wild. And I will go ahead and lay 2 eggs on the ibis. We'll move over to the meadowlark. It immediately lays 2 eggs on itself, and then Ethan may lay an egg on a bird with the same nest type.
Okay. Put it on this special one.
And then we're going to return the white-tipped sicklebill to here, and I'm actually going to move up my purple track.
I realized not on this turn, but on the last turn, I actually forgot to do these one in between turns things, so I should have gained 2 food and cached 2 food as well. For my turn, though, we're going to draw some bird cards. I am going to draw these 2 off the top, and there we go. And I'm going to choose 3 to tuck behind with this common shift chaff. So that was his when activated. And then when activated for the mallard, I'll draw 1 more card. And it'll move down to the sun gem, moving it back. Go ahead and cover the green in order to move my green track up by 1.
Perfect. I am going to go ahead, and I think I'm just going to continue to lay eggs where I can. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and lay 3. Go 1, 2, 3. We will discard another bird card from my hand. And I will go ahead and I will discard a boat-tailed grackle that has the bull-looking nest. So I will go ahead and lay 2 more eggs on the purple finch. Moving over to the meadowlark, I lay 2 eggs on it. It only has a limit of 4, so I will only be able to lay 1 on it. But then Ethan will go ahead and lay another egg on a bird with the same nest. And then I will grab the sicklebill once more to push up my purple track to the second to last one on the track.
All right, I'm gonna do a little bit of gambling, actually. I'm gonna play a bird instead of just laying eggs. I am going to play I'm gonna totally butcher this, but something like Kupa Nuak. But it's a very cool looking bird, but we're gonna place it here. When played, I tuck up to 5 cards from my hand behind this bird. So I'm gonna tuck 2 of them. For each, I draw a new bonus card, and I am going to keep 1 of them.
No way. So you get to choose the best one out of the 5 that you drew? Or no?
I only drew 2 of them.
Oh, you only drew 2 of them. Okay, up to 5 is what...
Yeah, that's the ceiling.
Yep.
All right, you'll see on screen which one that I just picked, and we'll see that in just a minute play out. But Armand, it is your last turn.
It is indeed my final turn. So I think it still makes sense for me to activate the wetlands on my turn. I'm just going to go ahead and grab these 3 birds just to make it easy. And then I will go ahead and activate the ibis. I will roll all dice not in the bird feeder. And then if any are fish, I gain a fish and cash it. That is unfortunate roll. There is no fish there. We'll move on to the Savannah Hawk that says reset the bird feeder. And I will cash an invertebrate on the Savannah Hawk, and we both also gain an invertebrate. Moving on to the Purple Finch, I draw a card and I tuck a bird from my hand underneath. And finally, I can discard eggs to draw, but I don't think I want to do that at this point. So we'll move on and we'll return the speckled hummingbird, covering the horned sungem, and we will push our purple to the very last one. And I think we're just going to grab the hummingbird back now that I'm at that part of the track, just so I can push the diamond track one final time.
And my turn is going to be very simple. I'm just going to lay eggs. I'm going to lay 4 eggs on 4 separate birds. And then roll all dice not in the bird feeder. Come on, give me a rodent. Perfect. Which allows me to cash it on this card. And then discard a cached... let's go ahead and discard 1 egg to... Or no, 1 thing to lay 2 eggs there. And then I'll look at the top card of the bird deck, which actually should be... Those should have been reset, so it'll be this one. 56 centimeters gets tucked underneath Golden Eagle. And finally, place this one back. Doesn't matter too much, so I'm gonna put it on top of a B. And that will be the end of the game. So let's finish the end of the round first, and then we'll do all of the game end powers after that. So the round end powers, the only one left is this one here, which will actually just let me immediately cash 3 invertebrates on that card. And we score the end of the round goal. So invertebrates in the food cost of the birds. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have way more than that. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8?
8. Yep.
Yeah, okay. So I'll get second place once again.
And I will take that first place.
And we'll discard all of the cards in the bird tray and in the garden, just in case they matter for any game end effects. And now that it's the game end, we're going to use these 2 game end powers on mine. Choose 1 other player first for each bird with a bonus card thing. I don't believe you played any throughout the game.
Not.
Okay. But the other one says activate each when activated power of all of my birds of prey. So I have 2 of them. And each one that succeeds, I also cash a food from the supply on this bird. So firstly, the golden eagle. I'll look at the top card. It is 25 centimeters, so we're going to tuck under that. And I get to cash 1 grain on him. And then this one says, roll all dice not in the bird feeder. If I get a rodent, that is a no, so that fails. And now we're going to count up all of our points, including our bonus cards, our hummingbird board, and everything on here, and we'll tell you exactly how it breaks down in just a moment. All right, so after we've counted it up, this is how it broke down. Armand got 35 points in birds, 6 points in bonus cards, 18 in the end of round goals, which was pretty nice for you.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got 14 on eggs, only 7 on food on cards, and only 4 tucked cards. But then you got 18 on your hummingbird track, which helps out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That was a total of 102 points for Armand. Then for me, I got 39 points for my birds, 9 on the bonus cards. So the bonus card Oologist, that last minute one, got me 6 points, which was really nice, but that's 9. Then end of round goals were only 13. But then eggs were 15, food on cards were 10, tucked cards were 13. There's a lot of tucked cards I've got. That was very helpful. And then only 7 on the hummingbird track. So you got a total of 102 points, and me, I got a total of 106, making me the winner. Good game, sir.
Yep, good game to you as well.
It was 106 points versus 102, which is very close. That shows kind of the differences of you went up the hummingbird track a lot. I did a lot of tucked cards. There were a couple instances where we kind of forgot to refill the bird tray or whatever, but we caught ourselves up. It's been a minute since we played Wingspan, but this was honestly a lot of fun to jump back into it. You get to really have a lot of choices with this expansion, which is a lot of fun. I've been Ethan.
I'm Armand.
And have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time.